the state.
Yeah.
And she goes in and finds out what those processes are that are contributing to where that money is going or the lack of process.
Perfect topic for today because we're talking about operations today. Processes, systems, things like that. And so, yeah, I would love to have a conversation offline with you about how we can team up on that stuff.
Sounds great.
So, yeah. All right. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Business Owners Mastermind Call. My name is John Pyron, and I am your host. And here's my buddy, Alan Woody Reeves, our co-host. What's up, buddy?
And it's a glorious, glorious, glorious Thursday to be alive, honestly. I hope everyone, I wish everyone the day that I've had.
Well, let's start off with that, dude. Tell us all about it, man. Don't leave us in suspense.
I got to the office this morning. There was a big package waiting outside. I opened it up, cut it up with my knife, and right there was my 60-inch by 90-inch portrait of John Pyron waiting to hang up in my office. Every first thing that anybody will see when they get in the morning. So you know, without even speaking a word, that everybody's going to come in with the right attitude and no excuses whatsoever. Because how can you look upon that countenance and not be just, yes, we're going to go kill it today.
Oh
No,
my God, you smart ass. I left myself wide open for that one.
I
like the idea, by the way.
Yeah.
I think I'll have one made and send it to you, man.
You need to do that. You need to maybe you should do a calendar, John. You know, like the firefighters do. You could have a John Pyron 2022 calendar. You on the golf course, you do a barbecue. I may have to talk to Allison about this.
Oh my God, you're killing me, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I got a website contract done. I closed a new client that was completely unexpected. And this is another conversation for another day. I lost a client out of the blue that I did not expect yesterday. But you know, there are times in the past when that would have blindsided me because they were one of the top dollar clients that we had. You know, and you know, typically, unless things go really sideways, if I've got the relationship or my operations director, Cheryl, owns the relationship, we don't lose clients. It just doesn't happen. We don't have that churn. But if there's something else in the mix, another person is the face of the business, or, you know, if I'm only dealing with management and I'm firewalled away from ownership, that's what happened in this case. But all of a sudden I got so many things in the pipeline. And people coming to me, basically saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you. What have you got here? You know, this is the most promising time in my career." And we had a very, very nice cash flow day, you know, as a result of some of these things. And you know, again, I'm blessed. This isn't the best day I've ever had. Certainly not the worst, but you know, this is why we do it. This is why we do it, for the, you know, for the wins, for the victories. And, you know, every time you make one of those steps forward, you're building a better future for the people that you care about. So what more can I say?
Yeah. Well, and we're talking about, congratulations, man. And I'm glad you bring that up because we're talking about operations, human resources, things like that. We got Evelyn on the call, and she's an expert for technology recruiting. And and that's one of the things that's hard right now is finding great talent. So, you know, I'd be very interested in getting kind of doing some roundtable. The biggest problem that I'm running into across the board from all the different clients that I have, and then I manage 13 with chip chapters with 255 members in that, and it's finding good talent that wants to work, and you got to have a process and a system in place to get that done. And so, why don't we do this? Is kind of go around the room real quick. What are some of the ideas that you have to recruit more talent for your business? Or what's some of the ideas that you tell people that are great ideas for hiring and recruiting and finding great talent? Who wants to go first?
I guess I'll go first. It's Evelyn.
Hey, Evelyn.
Yeah, it's crazy out there right now. And I think that companies that are not clear on what it is that they need to hire for, and companies that are not leveraging their brand in front of the right people are missing the boat. There's just so much hiring going on, and so much going on in general, just by virtue of people transitioning from a remote to part-time in office. And some companies that allowed for 100% remote are now asking, and in some cases demanding, that people come back into the office, and some have moved out of the area. So there's just and a lot of people are just retiring because it's time to retire. But I think from a technical talent standpoint, if you don't have a compelling reason for somebody to take a look at the position that you're trying to fill, and a brand that is more appealing to people than Facebook or Amazon or Salesforce, you're not going to get, and if you have an arduous process with regards to interviewing and hiring, and there are tests, and you have to fill out you have to apply on the website, you're going to lose candidates because they really have a lot of other options, and they don't, we've got companies that are name brand that didn't used to recruit from parts of the country that they're recruiting for now because they're offering work from home. So that's my take on it from what I can see.
And so getting clarity with your message on what it is that you're looking for, leveraging your brand properly, probably the biggest takeaway for me was making that process super easy and eliminating the friction points on interviewing and getting hired. I understand that correctly?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I have clients that we work on behalf of small businesses in Sacramento and Fortune 50 companies that are, worldwide. And where we have seen good people accept offers are with companies that are clear with their benefits, with the work. It's not a job description that they're posting, or we don't post on their behalf. We post job announcements that are going to compel somebody to want to learn more. And they offer good benefits, work-life balance, and an opportunity to learn. And the recruitment and interview process is quick. So we have one client, Cox Automotive, that will interview, and then within a couple of days schedule a second interview, and then within a couple of days after that schedule a third interview, and make an offer within 24 hours. And we have not had any candidates decline the offers. So, it's just quick, move quick, and put something out there that's compelling, that would, be of interest to good people, and make sure that your brand is up to date, and you're putting your brand out there in a way that's going to be appealing to people. Because again, you're going to be competing with the big guys that didn't used to recruit out of, certain parts of the US, and now they are.
Yeah. And so you mentioned automotive. So do you do recruiting in more areas than just technology?
We recruit, our core competency is in information technology. Some of our clients, our relationships tend to, span, and again, grateful for the opportunity to work with some companies for over 20 years. And they'll ask us to go outside of the technology space into human resources, definitely marketing and digital marketing. And that's pretty, those areas are complementary to what we do on the IT side. So that's pretty much it. But it's across the board in terms of industries. We work with healthcare, finance, fintech, and some not-for-profits.
Yeah. What's the most difficult industry to work with as far as recruiting and finding talent right now?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't know that it's an industry. I think there are skill sets that the demand is tightest right now for people that are building software systems and software platforms, more this 21st century. Because again, Google and Amazon and Facebook are recruiting those folks, and people want to have that on their resume. I worked for Google, whatever, and recruiters actually. So people in the human resource field, people in the recruitment field, but I would say across the board, there is a high demand for all skill sets. But primarily the technology, I think, is probably the tightest market right now.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to connect with you. I have a client and they can't find enough people fast enough. They do low voltage cabling, high voltage as well, and closed circuit TV. They're in Amazon, they're in Tesla, they're in Lowe's, they're in Target, and they just can't find the talent fast enough. So
yeah,
I'd assume because they're technology, they would be a good referral for you, right?
If it is a cabling type job, that may not be in our wheelhouse, but I could certainly provide some advice, and they may be able to partner up with some of the economic development collaboratives. Are they here in Sacramento or?
Yeah, they're in Folsom.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's probably programs where they could have, they could partner up with an economic development collaborative that could, start developing a pipeline for them. Those are kind of field engineer jobs, and those can be good. There can be good partnerships developed, and certainly there are companies out there that specialize in that area. Ours are more the software development folks that we're recruiting.
Okay. Yeah, I got a couple clients in that space too. I'll direct message you on LinkedIn and love to connect with you and learn more about what it is that you do. Because Alan Reeves and I've been in this space for, I don't know, 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I have IT companies all over the country.
Yeah. Excellent.
John, your audio is going up.
How's my audio now?
There you go.
Is it better? I
Yes.
gotta talk louder,
Gotcha.
So, that's it, man. I gotta get speak up. So, well, thanks for the input, Evelyn. Carrie, do you have any ideas around recruiting, retention, finding talent?
One of the things I think people are talking a lot about now is, instead of job description, is more outcome description. What are the outcomes that we're looking for from you, not how, and then finding out how they would approach getting to those outcomes.
Outcomes description versus job description. I like that.
Yeah, that's kind of that bullet, nobody wants to apply to a list of bullets, but people want to subscribe to a mission and the work. It's like build our next whatever, or help us launch this, those things. I completely agree. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, I was talking to a client of mine the other day. I'm like, you can't be putting out a job ad like you used to, dude. It's just this is a sales pitch now.
Yes.
I mean, they don't have to come work for you. Trust me, there's plenty of opportunity for those people out there, and they can pick and choose wherever the heck they want to work. And so you need to explain to them why they need to choose you versus, it's almost like the renting market in California right now. The moment a rental goes up on the market, there's about 65 to 70 people that apply for it. And in the housing market, same thing, about 25 to 30 people apply for it. And so, I used to give this front of the room talk to mortgage people, and I'm like, what the heck am I going to talk to these people about that would be of value? And I came up with this picture of a Britney Spears concert outside, and the photo was taken from the drum set, and there was this island stage, and there's got to be 65,000 people in the audience. And but the picture was perfectly as if I'm sitting on the drum set, focused on it. And so the thing I told them, I'm like, how many mortgage people do you think are in Sacramento? 1,000? What about the region? 10,000? What about the state? Probably 65,000 people, just like this audience right here. So what do you notice about the picture? Everybody looks the same, except for the person right over there holding that pink sign, except for that person over there holding that sign. I said, if you're going to stand out in the job market and attract talent, you're going to have to do some crazy crap to stand out, because money ain't going to get it. They're going to get the money because they're in demand. But it's like, hey, how's your life going to be better by coming to work for us? How much greater are you going to be on a personal level a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? How are you going to be able to advance your personal career and make you more valuable to the marketplace because you chose to spend time with us?
Well, I also think there's mission involved now, more than when, we were in the market. It really was career advancement, but it's more, how can I contribute? Is what you're doing something I want to contribute to? And with my, maybe not truly unique, but you feel like you have a unique take on what you do, how you approach what you do. How am I going to be contributory to that particular complete mission? And I think people look at it a lot differently now, because they can possibly, but also the generations behind us are thinking that way a great deal.
Yeah. It's interesting as you brought that up. I told one of my clients they have 22 employees, and they're trying to figure this out. And I said, well, it's like marketing 101.
Right.
Why not go to all of your employees, do an anonymous survey, okay, and say, hey, you've been here for X amount of years. Why do you stay here? Why do you stay here? What is it about this job that keeps you here versus going and looking somewhere else? And you get that feedback from your employees, and that becomes your bait that you put out there in the market with your message. And it's like, if I wanted to market to, who was I talking to yesterday? I did a strategy session with a pest control guy on Monday. And we're sitting there, and he's been in business 3 years. And, I said, how many clients do you have? He goes, I have 490 clients. I'm like, okay. How many referrals do you get? Occasionally we get referrals and things like that. Out of the 490, how many of them do you absolutely like? Like, if they called you on their cell phone and you recognized them, you would get excited about answering it, not sending them to voicemail. And he goes, about 490. And I go, well, times that by 4. And that's how many referrals you're sitting on. But you need to figure out what bait to go use to attract more people like them. And it's the same principle here. It's just my opinion. Now they did it, and it worked very, very well for them. But I was like, we can guess all we want what's going to work. But why not go and ask our favorite employees, the ones that we want more of? So, Alan, you got any input here, feedback, anything like that?
I do, and maybe it's more of a question for Evelyn. I have a client, goes back 19 years. They've been with us. They're phenomenal, and they're a consulting company. that helps recruiters and the prospective employers in vetting the winning candidates as to whether or not they are truly a fit. Because you can put a great ad out there. You can have the messaging perfect and have 10 really good candidates on paper. And I think we can all agree that probably only half of those, when it comes down to it, are really a proper fit. My client puts these folks through, he calls it DISC on steroids. And it's about a 2-week process where it's a personality evaluation. It's a character evaluation. It's all these different things. And his customers, they don't hire without him. He goes in, like a lot of times when you are recruiting winners, when you're recruiting high performing people, there's an element of those people that have also, because they are smart, they are qualified, they are intelligent, they have a desire to maybe be in charge a little bit more than they should be. Maybe they think that they're going to bring their methodology in and it's not going to be quite a fit. So what does that really look like? It's great to be able to attract the right people on paper, but what is the interim point there? I mean, I know John's wife, and John together have the ability to put people through a process very, very similar to this, and they do that. But I'm curious as to what that looks like in the day-to-day, Evelyn.
So is your question, what is my opinion on the kind of the surveys and the kind of evaluations that people have before they're hired? Or I'm not sure whether I understood your question. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I probably didn't phrase it that well. So you bring candidates in, and you specialize in bringing the right candidates in. You're not throwing stuff up against the wall. After you've delivered these candidates to the employer, is there any further interaction to ensure success, or is the employer is it on them at that time? Is there any?
No. I mean, we conduct a behavioral interview. I mean, what we do is spend time with the candidate the way that a company that has a fairly sophisticated HR department would interview. I mean, really deep dive into, not just the what, but the how and the why, in terms of people and what they've done in past positions, and, how they compare and contrast between, 2 or 3 of their last employers, why they left, why, and with that, we kind of use it's a physical algorithm to kind of establish what it is that the person had in where they succeeded the best in terms of support, resources, the way things were set up. And with that, you get a better fit just by virtue of the premise that past performance it can be a predictor of future performance. So what is the platform? What is the structure? What is the type of leadership that a person has really thrived with? That's what we use. And I mean, I feel like that's a strength of mine that I've developed over the past 25 years or so. I have clients that use the surveys. Going back to kind of this arduous process that candidates I've had people self-select out when they know that there's going to be a couple of tests. We have clients that have, they have DISC, they have predictive index, they have Wonderlic, and candidates, especially the technical people are like, you know what? I can appreciate the company wanting all this, but I just don't have time. And I've got this other company that's ready to pull the trigger on an offer. So, it depends on what kind of position it is. If you're hiring a CEO or a CFO or a, controller, I mean, yeah, you need to have that due diligence and kind of get a sense of what the person's all about. So I would say it just depends on the level of responsibility that a person would have in terms of the amount of kind of, we don't call them tests. We call them surveys because they're not a means of hiring or not hiring a person, I would hope. But yeah, it's kind of today's market, it's talent driven, and people are just going to say, I don't have time for that. I've already worked 12 hours today and I'm not going to take a test.
Well, okay. One last thing, one last little twist on this. I had a tech on board once upon a time. I have an IT company, and he was, like I said, he was already hired. He'd been on board a while, and we were going to give uniform TTI tests provided by John to the entire staff. Really, not to measure anything as far as their capability. That they were already on board. But we wanted to get an idea about how we might better exercise the talents that they had. And this one particular tech completely balked at it. He got his back up against the wall and said, these are just useless. I'm here to provide my tech skills, my tech skill set. As far as what my personality is irrelevant. Now, if someone had said that, if a candidate had said that to you, in advance of being hired, what would your position be with them? I presume that that's a non-starter. I don't know. You tell me.
So the question is, if I had a position that I was recruiting for and a person, part of the criteria was that they would have to take a test, and they didn't want to do it, and I ran into this situation. We're working with a large company in the education industry here in Sacramento, and they have surveys that people are asked to complete. And we had a gentleman that the director wanted to hire like nobody's business. I mean, she was very, very, very interested in bringing this person on board. And he is a senior recruiter, and so he's used to it as well. He's not a test taker, and he has had bad experiences with it. And I don't know, I mean, some people are dyslexic. Does that mean he's not a good recruiter? No, he is a kick-ass recruiter. But, we talked about it between he and I, and it turns out that, there may have been something like dyslexia, or just maybe not a propensity for, math or whatever the case may be. And he opted out. I mean, he's like, no. So I have to respect what both sides of the equation, what's most important to them. And, I try to find out early on and share what the process is. And that way somebody can opt out early. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think that, I don't know. I just, I'm not a big fan, only because of the type of people that I recruit. And, just the fact that I think there are so many different things that come into play that there may be bias. And although all of my clients that use assessments will say, this is a tool, we're going to use this to help manage them and provide the platform that they need to be successful. But at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't do well on it, that somebody's going to be sitting around talking about it, and it's not going to make the candidate feel good. So I just haven't given it, it's Thursday at 4:30. I haven't really thought about it that much, but that's what's coming to mind, just kind of right off the top of my head with it.
Enough.
I just was going to say, when you're working with small to medium-sized businesses, and I guess I'm talking on the smaller side, but not necessarily, a lot of them don't have processes for actually bringing in those new hires in a truly effective way. And they don't have a repeatable process. And, I think that's just that's a space between hiring and success that sometimes is overlooked by businesses that just keep bringing people on and hoping for the right. Even if they do go with professionals that are bringing people in, they aren't professional in fitting them in to their company in so many ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Onboarding and having a process that is repeatable and having things set up. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of companies that lose people because it's like one of their, their first couple of weeks on the job, they're forming an opinion. It's like the dating process. It's, do I like it here? Do I feel comfortable here? Do these guys have their act together? That type of thing. So I would agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, to answer some input on my opinion about it, Alan, is it depends on the position that you're recruiting for and how much of a talent resource is out there in the marketplace.
Yeah.
If I'm a company, I'm looking for a truck driver because there's a tremendous amount of shortages on truck drivers. Probably not. I'm probably going to be kissing that butt of that truck driver. And to get him to sign on the bottom line, I need your butt in the truck driving the truck. And if that means you need to have a little fuzzy stuffed animal that I need to purchase to sit on your dash while you drive around, I'll be more than happy to do it for you, dude. But when there's a huge amount of scarcity, and that's why I tell people, never, ever, 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 never, ever, ever, never. That's a definite. Ever stop recruiting.
Mm.
The worst time to hire is when you absolutely need somebody right now. Employers make the worst hiring decisions when they're willing to skip their own process that has worked for them, and because they need the guy right now. I gotta have him. Joe just quit. And they end up hiring wrong. And then it becomes a situation of the tail wagging the dog. And it's like I told people a long time ago, it is easier to run with 100 people than to drag one. And I can't tell you how many times I've parted ways with an employee, and you can hear the air coming back into the company the moment they walk out the door. And the employees now all of a sudden come to you and it's like, man, it is so much of a better spot now that he's not here or she's not here. And and so taking your time, to it's like Harvey McKay said, dig your well before you're thirsty, is constantly look for talent. Great talent never, ever, 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 never costs you money, ever. And if you're listening to this recording, you're a small business owner, you've never hired employees, or you only have 1 or 2 employees, and you're like, I have no idea what to do, and employees are expensive and all this other stuff. Yeah, bad employees and actually just average good employees cost you a lot of money. Okay. But great employees, they will make you money every single time as long as you got your processes and systems in place. And if you don't have your processes and systems in place, what a great employee will do is help you put those processes in place. The most important thing for you to do is get out of the way and hire talent that's way better than you, and literally just encourage the heck out of them. And you win.
Well, I also think documentation is huge. I mean, whenever we did strategic plans for any of our SMBs, it's all about documentation, because one person can come in great and do well, and you've encouraged them, but document what they did, or ask them to document how they navigated, or how they interact, whatever that might be. I mean, it all depends on whether it's a soft skill or a hard skill, of course, but how they fit in, and document what's been happening. So many times nothing's documented, so you can't repeat something that worked, or you repeat something that didn't work because it's also not documented.
Yeah, and it's never been easier now. I mean, people are accustomed to Zoom. There's some really cool apps out there like Otter. Like I have Otter snapped into Zoom. So the moment this call's done, this call goes over to Otter and it transcribes this call. And I get the audio file, I get all the keywords, it breaks it out by speaker. And it's excellent for documenting processes. So the hardest thing, companies that have a lot of friction points, meaning it has to be a printed, documented, step-by-step process, are missing the boat of technology today because processes and things change so quick now. And so being able to say to that employee, go, hey, here's how we've been doing this task all this time before you arrived. Okay? It's exactly how we've been doing it. You have 100% my permission to make it better, but I need you to document what you're doing. Okay? And I need you to not just document it this way, but I need you to video, screen share your Zoom, whatever. So if you leave the building today and heaven forbid, knock on wood, you get hit by a bus and you don't come back tomorrow, the next person can step in and watch a video, read a transcript, some screenshots. It's important for you to keep that. Your success here is measured by your ability to make your area of responsibility way better than I could ever possibly do as your owner. And I think employees appreciate that when they feel like, hey, that I got responsibility here and they value me and they value my input. And so that's just my 2 cents about it. What anybody else got any feedback on hiring or employees or processes or systems? Okay. Anybody have any specific topic around business that they would like to go over today in Mastermind with this group?
Not for me today.
Nope. Okay. Well, cool deal. So next Thursday, obviously, we're not going to be doing a call. Okay. Unless you guys, if one of you guys want to do it, I'll give you the codes to this and you can run it and have a great day. But I'm going to be watching football. My Cowboys are going to win again. Okay. And it's going to be fun. So go out and make it happen. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you guys in December.
Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Have a
All
great one.
right.
everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. All right.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.